Well, hello, Christopher Scott here, coming to you with another small group ministry tip. And I'm doing a series of videos giving you facilitator tips, helping you to become a better small group facilitator of your small group, Sunday school, whatever that might be that you regularly do as part of your church. In this video, I want to encourage you to encourage your small group to work through the lesson before they arrive to your small group, right? So encourage them to work through the lesson before they arrive to your small group, right? So why would you want to encourage your small group to work through the lesson before arriving to your small group? Well, number one, they're going to get more out of the material that you're going through if they take time to work through the material before getting there, right? And how do you know that's true? Well, there's science and research that's done, and it's called schema, is what scientists and psychologists call it, schema, where they study how people learn and how that people learn more and retain more information when they activate what they know about a topic before learning new things. Meaning, you're going to be studying, let's say, the book of Ephesians, right? And as you start the book of Ephesians, you want to get people to think about, what do they know about this book? Who wrote this book? Who is he writing to? What are some of the themes going on? If you can get people thinking about that, working on it, getting their thoughts down on paper before they arrive to their small group, everything they already know about it is out there. And then once they start to learn and discuss and talk, they build on that together as a group, okay? So that's what's called schema. And what you want your group to do is to encourage them to work through the lesson before arriving to their small group, okay? A second reason you want to encourage your group to work through the lesson before arriving to your small group is that it is a great way for them to practice doing something that a spiritual leader or the Bible or their pastor or their church encourages them to do. What do I mean by this? Meaning, you're a small group facilitator, you do a Bible study each week, you encourage your group to take 10 minutes and work through the lesson before coming to the group. You tell people in your group that you want them to work through the lesson, you encourage them by text message, you give them reminders to read the passage, you give them emails, reminders to read this and come ready to talk about it, and you regularly remind them and ask them to do that, which is something that your small groups pastor probably already asked them to do. And so if people aren't going to do that, they're not going to take 10 minutes to sit down and do what you're asking them to do as a facilitator. If they're not willing to do that, they're likely not willing to apply the things to their lives that they're learning in the group or at church on a Sunday, right? So encouraging them to work through the lesson is a way to get people in the habit of doing what they are asked by a small group facilitator, by a pastor, whatever that might be, right? So it's a good practice for people to say, hey, this person knows what's best for me. They're my small group facilitator leader. They're encouraging me to do this in my life. I should do it. It's just a good way to encourage participation and for them to get involved and do something that their small group facilitator asked them to do. So what does it look like for people to work through their lesson before they get to small group? Sometimes they'll work through the lesson before they get to the group in advance, or sometimes they're kind of doing the homework from last week's lesson that they then follow up with at that small group the next week, okay? So a lot of the small groups at our church will use the Wiersbe Bible Study Guides. I got an ID card up there with some videos about how to use the Warren Wiersbe Bible Study Guides. But in those guides, there's a very specific things that we want people to do to come ready to talk about the passage. Number one, they want to read the passage that they're going to be talking about in their group a couple of times, right? Read through the passage, get a feel for it. Then they're going to want to answer the questions, jot down some thoughts and answers to the questions, and come ready to talk about it. So that's what you want to do with the Wiersbe Guide, to encourage people to come ready to talk about the lesson before they get there by reading the passage a few times and answering the questions in the study guide. Some of our groups also use the Chip Ingram Living on the Edge small groups. I got another video up there about how to use those studies. And those are a little different because they're homework based from the past week's lesson, right? So let's say this week on Monday, we cover this lesson. And then there's what's called the Accelerate section, which only takes 20 minutes. And it builds on that lesson from Monday that the person should do sometime during that week, right? There's some type of application, a little bit of study, a little bit of journaling that the Chip Ingram Living on the Edge studies encourage people to do. It's called Accelerate. It only takes 20 minutes, but it's helping them put into practice what they learned in their small group, okay? So that's how you use the Chip Ingram studies. And then we have a couple groups at our church, Divorce Care and Grief Share. And those are they have what's called the On Your Own sections, right? On Your Own sections. And that's the homework, kind of similar to the Living on the Edge material. That's the homework that we want the people to do during the week that builds on what they learned in the small group. And there's usually 5 activities. So they do one a day for 5 days. Doesn't take very long, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. just to get them thinking, praying, and journaling about what they're learning and how they're working through that material. And another small group at our church does managing finances God's way. Those are a little bit more specific, tangible results, right? So one week we might say, here's an envelope, start keeping all of your receipts in this envelope this week. Very tangible application that we want people to do from that week. Or start a budget, right? Start an Excel spreadsheet and start keeping track of your money. That's something that they learn about in small group, they do during the week, and then they come to this group the next week and say, you know, I did this, 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 and this. This is how it went. I struggle with this. I need some coaching in this. So this has been another video to help you as a small group facilitator, try to facilitate a small group and help people grow in their walk and relationship with Jesus Christ. So I hope that you can encourage your group to work through the lesson before they come to their small group, or just simply do the homework from that week's lesson as well, as a way to help people get to know God, love God, and serve Him and have a deep relationship with Him. So if you found this video helpful, I got a subscription link up there. You can subscribe and get updates on future links. If you want other small group facilitator tips, I got a bunch of those videos over there. If you want to learn to use the Wiersbe Bible study guides, I got those videos over there, or the Chip Ingram Bible guides DVD studies are over there. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you again on another video.